This is Jules Farron.
And Jaden Levine.
And for our project in pair, we chose the book The One and Only Ivan, written by Katherine Applegate.
The characters in the story are Mac, who's the owner of the Big Top Mall, Ivan, who's the silverback gorilla, Bob, the stray dog, Stella the elephant, Ruby, the baby elephant, who's new to the Big Top Mall, George, who's the janitor, Julia, the daughter of George, and then the humans, who are the guests at the mall.
For our summary, we said The One and Only Ivan is a novel told from the perspective of Ivan, who is a silverback gorilla who spent most of his life in captivity at the shopping mall. Ivan lives in a small enclosure and shares a space with Stella the elephant and Bob the dog. Even though Ivan began to accept his life, he is troubled by the mistreatment of his friends, especially the young elephant Ruby, who is new to the mall. With the help of his friends, including Julia, who is the daughter of the mall janitor George, Ivan decides to take action and fight for a better life for Ruby and the other animals. He does this by drawing pictures that mean he wants the other animals in the mall to live in a big zoo so that they will be in nature and around other animals like them. The Big Top Mall ends up going bankrupt, so his dream ends up coming true, and his friends are still able to visit him. The novel explores themes of art as Ivan uses his talent of drawings and painting pictures as a way to communicate his messages for change. It also talks about humans, for example, how they mistreat animals and partake in meaningless activities. The story is heartfelt and thought-provoking, showing Ivan's journey towards self-awareness and his desire to help those he cares about. It makes you think deeper about the world around you and how you personally could be kinder to nature. This is the point of view of the elements of the story. The novel is told in first person, which allows us as readers to understand Ivan's thoughts, emotions, and reflections on life. However, we are not able to view the story through another character's perspective.
The quote that we chose is, "Sometimes the narrator is also a character in the story, and this is called a first-person narrator. This is easy to identify because the character refers to him or herself as I." This is the setting element of the story. So this story takes place primarily in a mall that has a circus for entertainment where Ivan and the other animals are held in captivity. Ivan's closure is a small glass cage. So this setting is important to the story because it shows physically and mentally how the animals feel trapped. They also feel like they're always on display or being watched by humans. This feeling of constantly being on display messes with Ivan's head. In the story, he never does anything for himself. He always does it to try and impress humans, like how he makes his paintings just to impress the humans. The setting is also important to the story because the circus harms the animals in different ways. The elephant Stella was chained to the floor by her feet so that she would stand in a certain position for long periods of time, and this caused her to get infections on her feet and ultimately lead to her death.
And for our quote in Russell, we said, the setting includes the time, the geographical location, and the social circumstances in a story. For elements of a story plot, the novel is considered as a journey plot, and the story focuses on Ivan's emotional and psychological transformation. One example of a journey in the story is when the mall went bankrupt and the animals were able to move to the zoo. Ivan was able to gain freedom from his small enclosure, but also break down the metaphorical emotional walls he built around himself.
The quote that we chose for this was, "Journeys make good plot devices because on a journey the protagonist can meet new people, see new places, and experience new adventures." For the conflict element of the story, we said one conflict is that at the beginning of the story, Ivan feels emotionally numb and like he doesn't have a purpose. Meeting Ruby, the young elephant, helped him grow into a better person and want to change the world. One example of a conflict in the book, The One and Only Ivan, is when he meets Ruby the elephant. Before he meets Ruby, Ivan is emotionally numb. He blocked out bad memories from his past, like how he got to the circus, and he felt like he didn't have a purpose. After he met Ruby, she inspired him to start drawing more, to start telling stories and jokes, and to want to be free. This was also the first time Ivan felt protective of someone and wanted to fight for them. Ivan learns how to feel empathy when hearing how Ruby got captured and put into the circus, and it helps him remember his own past.
And then our quote from Russell: conflict has another important role, for it is the means by which the protagonist is allowed to transform, to grow, and mature. Elements of a story style. Exposition. Reading a story from the point of view of a gorilla makes the story more engaging because you may not have thought about things through this perspective before. The quote from Russell we've chose: the narrator's explanations and descriptions are referred to as exposition.
There are also flashbacks in the story. Ruby has flashbacks to humans capturing her and bringing her to the circus, and she also remembers getting stuck in a village, and a bunch of humans helped her and bring her back to her family. This helps Ivan remember how he got captured himself, but it also helps him see humans in a new light and realize that they are not all bad. And the quote that we chose for this was: the flashback is the device by which the narrator takes the reader back to a time and place before the story's present time.
Elements of a story tone. The author uses humor in the story as well as point of view of an animal. This shows their attitude about their subject because there are many instances in the story where the animal makes fun of humans as a way to cope with their mistreatment. This shows that the author has strong feelings about protecting nature and animals. A quote from Russell: we laugh at the tension resulting from something out of the ordinary.
The theme element of the story. The elements that we chose are freedom, relationships, and hope. So for freedom, Ivan achieves freedom at the end of the book, mentally and physically. This is not something he even knew that he wished for before meeting Ruby. He was conditioned by humans to think that living in a small enclosure was the only way of living, but his relationships with other characters helped him see the world differently. For hope, we said, after Ivan discovered that there were better ways of living than he currently had, he started gaining hope for a better life. Hope was fueling his ambitions to get the humans to notice him. So the elements of this story we chose were freedom, friendship and identity, art and expression, and justice and injustice. So the target audience that we chose is 4th grade, and 2 assignments inspired by the book are an animal perspective journal entry, which is where students write a journal entry from the perspective of a character in the book, and then they will also write a letter to Ivan from a visitor.
And here are 2 exemplars of what these assignments could possibly look like. Here are our sources, and that is all. Thank you.